The next story I wanted to talk about is titled Lin Wood, Trump has secret military back channel to authorize nuclear strikes. This is on rawstory.com, and there's a video that goes with this, a couple of videos actually. But let's read this article and see what it had to say. It's written by David Edwards. Election attorney Lin Wood claimed this week that former President Donald Trump maintains a secret back channel to the U.S. military that allows him to order nuclear strikes. If you guys don't know who Lin Wood is, he's an extremely famous, particularly in the QAnon community, famous person. He was Trump's election attorney, basically, and he's a complete conspiracy theorist, and he is a hero in the QAnon community. So things that he says carry around the world, seriously. It's extremely concerning when he starts spouting off these batshit crazy conspiracy theories because people pick them up and run with them. No joke. And I'll show you an example in a minute. Let's finish this article. Wood made the assertion during an event in Myrtle Beach where he was campaigning to become the next South Carolina Republican Party chair. Video was later obtained by Patriot Takes. He won the election, Wood said of Trump. Donald J. Trump is still the guy the military will call for the code if they need a first strike. Joe Biden is not the president of the United States. Let's watch the clip and see what he had to say.
Donald J. Trump has never conceded, has he? Because he won the election, so be cool.
It doesn't matter if he's conceded or not. It's completely irrelevant. I don't know why people keep saying this. It does not matter. Donald Trump's term ends at noon on January 20th. That's what the Constitution says. Whether Joe Biden is sworn in or not is irrelevant. Trump's term ended. Let's keep listening.
It won't be good in time. Donald J. Trump is still the guy the military will call for the code if they need a first strike.
You know why that's relevant? He's basically saying that the military is still recognizes Donald Trump as the political leader of the country. He's saying even though the people and the media and whatever else don't really, don't view Trump as the political leader, the military still does. And that's what's important, because in countries, if you have the military's backing, then you are the political leader, period. That's how coups start. That's how coups are successful. I mean, political and military coups won't work if you don't have the military behind you. That's exactly what happened in Myanmar. I mean, Myanmar had a leader, and the leader was taken out by the military, and they just canceled the election completely. Same thing happened in Turkey a few years ago. I remember watching it on TV. There was a political coup against Erdogan, the leader in Turkey. Wait, it is Erdogan, isn't it? It's not Duterte. That's in the Philippines, I think. Yeah, I believe it's Erdogan. Anyways, Erdogan was basically taken out of power by the military, and he told the people to start rallying in the streets and fighting the military and everything. And the military coup failed against Erdogan. I guess he still had some loyal factions in the military, and he also had people rallying in the streets for him and stuff. But that's how you win coups, is by controlling the military. And that's why they are so obsessed with the idea that Trump still controls the military. If he does, then he's effectively still president, whether he lost the election or not. In the eyes of the media, in the eyes of the people, is irrelevant when it comes to the barrel of a gun. The military has the guns, and they determine who is president. But we have such strong institutions in the U.S. that the military respects the decisions of the people, and it's never even a question whether they will or not. So, anyway, let's keep listening.
Joe Biden is not the president of the United States. Whoever he is,
Why is he
whoever's
up there
going
doing all this and acting like president? Why can't somebody stop it? This is driving me crazy.
Well, you got to remember this, man. I'm going to tell you what I think. Because listen, I think they could have fixed this election in a month.
Right.
But we would have gone right back into the same.
Okay, so he said he thinks they're going to fix the election in a month, and this was dated 5/11/21. So if by 6/11/21 they haven't quote unquote fixed the election and Trump is not the president again, is somebody going to call this guy out? Is somebody going to say you're full of shit? Somebody going to walk up to him and play this clip and say, "You were wrong. You going to admit that or what?" Of course not. And even if they did, it wouldn't fucking matter. These people live in fucking delusion land. Seriously. They live in a delusion, like a mass fucking delusion. They genuinely believe that their guy won. And they will deny reality to the fucking death to continue believing this shit. And one more thing. I don't know how many of you guys know who Lin Wood is. I didn't actually know who he was, except through one channel. The only way I know who Lin Wood is because QAnon is absolutely obsessed with the guy. He's like a hero to them. If you aren't a member of QAnon, then you likely don't know who he is. So a lot of these people I'd be willing to bet are probably QAnon. At the very least, they're very politically extreme. Let's keep listening.
Because listen, I think they could have fixed this election in a month. Right. But we would have gone right back into the same swamp and the same mess, and nothing would have really been fixed. So remember that this isn't about Trump, and this isn't about the flesh. This is about God. This is about powers and principalities.
Why do they keep bringing God up every time they bring up Trump? Why do they keep saying this isn't about Trump, this is about God? Every time these extreme Trump supporters come out, they start talking about how this is about God, this is about what God wants. Is that fucking weird to anybody else?
God's getting ready to clean up this world, and he's got a lot of cleaning up to do in America. So you don't want Trump to come back yet, because some things are going to have to happen. He's going to enjoy when the bad stuff happens. He goes, whoa, how do you like that Biden administration? It's not.
Are you kidding me? He's saying God didn't want Trump to be in right now because a bunch of bad shit has to happen, and God wants to make sure that everybody thinks Biden is in control when all that bad shit happens, so that when Trump is put back in control, blah, blah, blah. That's fucking ridiculous. Lots of bad shit happened under Trump's watch. Like, for example, the pandemic. I mean, that was pretty fucking bad, right? And that was on Trump's watch.
We have Trump's watch, but Trump is watching. I believe, my own personal belief, is that he signed the Insurrection Act. Nobody knows. He's not going to tell anybody. I think the military is prepared to act if we have...
Oh, you think Trump could keep his fucking mouth shut about something like that? You think he could keep his mouth shut about signing the Insurrection Act? Give me a break.
A foreign threat or an internal threat that can't be handled by the police and the National Guard. And we're going to allow there to be what appears to be continuity of government. It's going to be painful about some things where you're learning about what you could have gotten if you'd really gotten Biden. Because he's cleaning things up.
These people are eating it up. Look at their facial expressions. They're buying it. They're believing it. And it's not just these people. There's a pastor named Larry Gators who had some things to say after this aired. So let's give this one a watch and see what Pastor Larry Gators had to say.
Tom Hanks is dead. Newsflash. Tom Hanks is dead.
I'm sorry? What? Okay, we're way out in left field now. If this one isn't making sense immediately, the whole Tom Hanks is dead thing, it's because this guy's QAnon. We'll get to that in a second. Let's keep listening.
That's right.
Dead. Joe Biden is dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
Joe Biden is dead. That's an interesting one, isn't it? In a minute, we're going to talk about Robin Bullock, Pastor Robin Bullock, saying Joe Biden doesn't exist. And if you remember earlier, we talked about a clip before in the previous segment where people were saying that Joe Biden doesn't exist too. Hank Kunneman said it.
46-1. No, 46 doesn't exist.
Let's keep listening.
The Clintons are dead, okay?
Yes.
You got clones running this country.
Right.
See, I got the testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said. Why? Because I'm a man of God.
Oh, okay. So I understand. So I'm not a man of God. And that means I don't have the testicular fortitude to say it, even though I know that it's a fact. Joe Biden and the Clintons and everybody, they're clones. I'm just afraid to say it outright because I'm not a man of God. I'm on Satan's payroll, right? I mean, Satan's paying me to talk shit about God and everything. And if I said that the Clintons were clones or whatever, Satan would be pissed, right? That makes perfect sense.
Man, you have to. Truth.
You got these punctified well, I don't want to lose my 501c3,
Oh,
Bishop,
come
so
on.
we have to use wisdom. Stop, okay? You need to sit down and shut up.
That's right. That's right.
Okay,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
Trump is surrounded by the military at Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, that's
Trump
right.
has the nuclear codes.
That's right.
Trump has the military who turned their back on Joe Biden.
That's right. That's right.
Where is he getting this? Who fucking knows, right? He's getting this from Lin Wood. He's getting this from this guy right here on screen. Lin Wood started talking about how the military responds to Trump and not to Biden, and all this other batshit crazy stuff, saying that Trump has the nuclear codes and he has the power and responsibility to launch a nuclear first strike. Trump's election attorney comes out with all this shit, and all of a sudden, we hear pastors parroting this. Lin Wood holds more power than he should. People respect his batshit crazy opinion way fucking more than they should. Let's keep listening.
On Joe Biden.
That's right. That's right.
And Trump has Air Force One. Patriots,
Come on.
QAnons, President Trump is still the president.
These people live in a fucking delusion. Sadly, it's a mass delusion. A disturbing number of people buy this shit. At least 20 million people believe the things that this guy said. Those are just boilerplate cookie cutter ideas presented by the far right. About 20 million people. We've got about 80 million evangelicals in the country, give or take. Somewhere around 70 million Catholics in the country. By and large, I don't think Catholics have been as susceptible to the QAnon shit as evangelicals have been, but, you know, a lot of Catholics fell for it too. And about 27% of evangelicals buy the most boilerplate basic QAnon stuff, at least. That's about 22 million people total, give or take. And these people, 22 million, believe what this pastor, Larry Gators, was saying. Out of curiosity, I went to the QAnon Wikipedia page because I was wondering what failed predictions they had, and I found a list, sure enough, of failed QAnon predictions. So I figured we'd kind of read through the list a little bit and see what it was. Number 1, the storm would take place on November 3rd, 2017. There were no notable events in U.S. politics on that day. The storm would take place on January 20th, 2021, the day of Biden's inauguration. No coup took place, and Biden was peacefully inaugurated. The storm, of course, is this claim that a military coup is going to happen, and, you know, Trump is going to have a whole bunch of people arrested. All of his political opponents will all be arrested, and all this other shit. Anyways, that's what the storm is. A major event involving the Department of Defense would take place on February 1st, 2018. Again, failed prediction, but these QAnon people still aren't going to accept that. People targeted by the president would commit en masse on February 10th, 2018. No prominent people committed that day. There would be a car bombing in London around February 16th, 2018. There was no bombing. The Trump military parade would never be forgotten. Parade was canceled. The Five Eyes won't be around much longer, quote unquote. Five Eyes are the five major intelligence agencies, intelligence communities. I think it's New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the UK, and the US. I believe those are the Five Eyes. Something major would happen in Chongqing on April 10th, 2018. Nothing notable happened in Chongqing that day. There would be a bombshell revelation about North Korea in May 2018. There were no notable developments. A smoking gun video of Hillary Clinton would emerge in March 2018. No video appeared. Multiple failed predictions that John McCain would resign from the U.S. Senate. McCain remained in the Senate until his death in August 2018. Multiple failed predictions that Mark Zuckerberg would leave Facebook and flee the U.S. Zuckerberg remains CEO of Facebook as of March 2021. Multiple failed predictions that Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey would be forced to resign. Dorsey remains CEO of Twitter as of May 2021. Multiple failed predictions that Pope Francis would be arrested on felony charges. Failed predictions that something big would happen or the truth would emerge next week. Multiple times they've said that. Multiple failed predictions that Donald Trump would be re-inaugurated on January 20th, 2021, despite losing the election. Joe Biden was inaugurated as planned on January 20th. Donald Trump would be inaugurated on March 4th, 2021, as the 19th president. This claim stems from a conspiracy theory stating that the District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871 made the U.S. into a corporation, a theory developed by the sovereign citizen movement. Therefore, Trump would have been inaugurated as the 19th president after Ulysses S. Grant, and the country would cease to be a corporation and once again become the country started by the Founding Fathers. March 4th is the inauguration date because the 20th Amendment changed the date to January 20th, and no amendments to the U.S. Constitution since 1869 are recognized. Joe Biden remains the incumbent and 46th president of the U.S. Donald Trump would be inaugurated again on March 20th, 2021. After the failed prediction that Trump would be inaugurated on March 4th, QAnon delayed the inauguration date to March 20th. Joe Biden remains the president of the U.S. It is failed prediction after failed prediction with these people. They do not give up, seriously. And when forced to face their own delusion, they still deny it. And it's an embarrassment.